So you've been married for over 10 years. How
Yeah.
long has it been?
11 and a half now.
11
yeah.
and a half years. And it from afar, and even knowing you guys personally now, it looks like you guys have an incredible relationship. You're like the yin to his yang and vice versa, from
We're
what I
very
can tell.
different, yes.
Yeah, which I think is really cool, actually. And
Same.
so talk to me about that relationship and how has that helped you become and evolve, and how, was he there for you during, the evolution and all of that?
Yeah. It is I think even when I got to fill out the amazing questions you guys sent over beforehand, when one of them was just something about what I was most proud of. And gosh, when I think about it, that is the thing that I'm most proud of, is the marriage that we have, the partnership that we have, and knowing that we're not perfect and we're so committed to the journey imperfectly. Which sounds so, I'm like, oh, that sounds so cheesy to say. And it's real.
It's true, yeah.
So Elliot, my husband, we actually met selling carpet.
Okay.
Little fun fact.
I didn't know that.
So there were actually a lot of blessings that
Okay.
that company brought me.
Now you know what kind of carpet we have every time you walk in the room.
Yeah, I have some questions about it afterward. We'll save that for after. And he is very different. We're similar in a lot of ways. The ambition we have in common, just the drive to contribute, and the way that we live, and we live in possibility. I think that's the best way to say it. And that was the first thing that I just noticed about him, was even though we were selling carpet, we were in this industry that we were like, what are we doing here? There was just this light about him, and I felt so safe in his energy and in his presence. And we go on, we get married, and he was the first guy I ever lived with. Yeah. And you realize, oh, this is going to take like some effort. And I actually don't know if I believe like the idea that like, oh, marriage is a lot of work, and it's because it's always said with this undertone of like, it's such a burden. And I think maybe because I look at it through the lens of like, I get to learn about myself. Sometimes, unfortunately, on the other side of a disagreement with him, where I realize like, oh, I have this pattern that shows up, and that is not demonstrating who I want to be as a wife. But it's been
powerful.
a journey of like really learning about each other, especially learning. So I'll share from my part. For the first few years, I don't know that I was saying this out loud, and maybe I was in subtle ways, but you can feel someone's energy if this is what they're thinking. I thought I wanted him to be more like me.
Interesting.
I thought I wanted his drive to look the same as my drive. I thought I wanted his hunger for personal development to be the same as mine. And the truth is, I was missing his strengths by looking for my own strengths in him. Now, I think what I was really craving deep down is I wanted to know that it was safe for me to be ambitious and to always be wanting to like read and go to personal development events. I wanted to know that like the real deep question was like, is it okay for me to be fully who I am with you?
Wow.
And the truth is, he has always been completely accepting, loving, encouraging of exactly who I am. It's one of the things that's interesting having this women's community. A lot of times questions about, how do you get your spouse on board? How do you help them see your vision? I am so blessed that he has always from the beginning been like, you go get it.
Yeah.
You can do this. I believe in you more than anyone else. And the safety that created for me was, and still is to this day, it's something that it's priceless. I always say, I'm a powerhouse woman. I'm a very independent person. I'm just better with him by my side. Sure. But I had to learn to looking at myself. So if I was unhappy in our relationship in any area, what am I telling myself at this moment? What are my fears? And one of the things was that I really thought I wanted him to just look more like me in terms of like some of those areas. And I'll never forget. I'll share this quick story, and then I'm sure you have more awesome questions just digging into this. I'll never forget this day that we both are in. He's always been in sales, so we both work from home, and it was like a Monday, and he had asked if I wanted to like go in the pool, like float for 15 minutes. It was kind of like our ritual at the time. We would just connect about our day, and this was a Monday, and you probably feel the same way. Like Mondays are like my go day. Like I love a Monday, and I was like, how dare you? Like, how dare you even suggest that I can take a break midday on a Monday? And then I heard myself, and I was like, okay, that's dumb, Lindsay. Like, there's really nothing that you can't take a break from. enjoy connecting with your husband. So we hop in the pool and we're just chatting about what's on the schedule for the week. And his phone rings, he hops out. He's in medical sales at the time. And he comes back over and he's like, babe, I just closed the biggest sale of my career. And then like does a cannonball into the pool. And in this moment where he's sharing that this is like a huge financial win for our family, I was livid.
Wow.
Inside.
Yeah.
And what I was saying was like, why is it so easy for him? Because I had this addiction to like, I could only be successful if I was busy. And if I was working, if I want to make more impact or make more money, I've got to work harder. Yeah. And so it created this life where like I could never work hard enough to actually fulfill what was inside, which was this belief that I had to prove something.
Right.
And it was this interesting, and I remember it so vividly because it was this moment where I, again, self-awareness, I zoomed out and I was like, wow, that feeling in your heart right now, that's not the wife I want to be. Where is this coming from? What is underneath this? And if we're willing to like really ask ourselves these questions in the moment that we're triggered, the gold you will find for yourself it's just unreal. And what I realized was this lesson that, you know, I thought I wanted him to be more like me, and here God had placed literally right in front of me the exact partner I needed because I needed to chill the F out, okay? I needed to learn to have more fun and allow it to be fun and easy. Because the truth is, where I would judge Elliot for finishing his work by noon and playing video games for a few hours, because I would never let myself do that.
You couldn't.
But he was done with his work.
Sure.
He has this thing called boundaries. Have you heard of these?
I'm still learning about
we should probably
them.
read a book about
learning.
that. And I want to share the transformation on the other side of this, and back to the idea that, you know, these are important decisions, who we are partnered with. Your partner is inevitably going to trigger some things in you that if you can lean into them, they can be the biggest gift. Because what I learned in that moment was like that I was done with that way of operating. I was ready to experience something new, and if I could instead get curious about like, well, how does he operate?
Right.
If I'm jealous that he's having this huge financial win and having fun, maybe there's something for me to learn. And I just really started to practice that and start to interrupt my patterns of like working longer just to make myself feel significant. And in the next, I can't remember the exact time frame, but within the next 6 months, I had the biggest like financial gain, a brand new opportunity that, if you believe in this stuff, which I totally do, the biggest financial breakthrough I've ever experienced, where like my goal for a year, I did it in one launch. Wow. That was like a new business venture partnership that wasn't even on my radar because I was allowing myself, and it was the most fun I'd ever had.
Wow.
So again, all of that isn't even about the money. It's about the transformation, because I got to keep that part.
Sure.
Right?
I love that entire thing, and there's so many golden nuggets that you just said. Like I could like go one at a time. You know, what's so interesting is that it reminds me a lot of like I hear myself in you, you know, but I think what that means too is how many people are listening or watching that feel the same way, right? Like for me, I can tell you that if like my partner, you know, it's that same thing where I'd have to look at it, because what I would do is they would finish their work at noon, and even if my work was finished at noon, I would have to create more work for myself out of thin air, right? Because I couldn't. How could my work be finished at noon? There's got to be more. I can do more, right? Yeah. Same thing as you. And underlying it really is, you know, and I've really tried. I'm in the middle of a lot of this too. Is, you know, but how come? Like, why? Where does that stem from? And it stems from, you know, the perfectionism, the imposter syndrome, having to overcompensating maybe for, you know, something that you lacked when you were a kid. Who knows? I mean, I think it's a combination of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I love everything about that.